By the way, this is Nolan North. I don't really start my interviews anymore. We just start talking, and then I just edit them later.
They can see us now, right?
They can see you, and they can see the words Nolan North under your face. So I'm,
Down there?
yeah, down there. So
You spelled it right?
Yeah, I did. It's Noorthe with an umlaut.
That's how they do it at Starbucks.
Yeah, it's.
I literally tell people I say my name is Bob
But
when I go to Starbucks.
how can you?
Because I get Nolan with a D, which you just should get punched in the face for that.
Yeah, how do you
like Roland? I'm like, no, not like Roland, like Nolan.
Nolan. I mean,
Lenin. I got Nolon once, and I was like,
really?
And she's like, and she's a girl, and she goes, oh, your name is the same backwards and forwards. I'm like, actually, it's not. But the way you spelled it, it is.
It's not
Thank you, radar.
Yeah, on the planet you live on, yes, it is. I'm sure there are a lot of other things that are true where you come from, but not here on planet Earth. That Nolan sounds like colon, but not spells like colon.
And smells the same.
Yeah. Am I ever going to get a PC? No, probably not, because
Did you ever have one before?
Yeah, years ago, like in 03.
Years ago, I had one. I think. Well, I don't think people realized there was never. We didn't have choices back then.
Yeah, I mean, a Mac was this unattainable thing. They're expensive as hell. They're still expensive as hell. But I got I don't know.
I just bought a new one.
You just bought a new Mac? Yeah, so did I.
I'm actually coming to you for my new Mac because, get this, my last one?
Yeah.
11 years old.
Well.
Yeah.
11? Yeah, I had mine.
It's actually right behind me back there. It's 11 years old, and it would no longer...
What is it, sitting on top of the Ark of the Covenant?
That's right. Are you kidding me? It's made of straw.
Yeah, it's made of wicker.
The funny thing is, it lasted that long, but it no longer would take the, especially since what we're going through, the coronavirus. I had to get all this equipment and everything to set up to not only podcast, but get my home studio set up, which technically isn't actually going to even be here. I had to use. I'll talk to you later about that.
Yeah, sure.
Closet. I had to go and all this stuff. All these the peripherals, they apparently need proper computer support.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'm kind of screwed. I actually found my old laptop. I tried to charge it for 48 hours, and it's like, no.
And yeah, it's an old man.
Julius Caesar, you kidding me?
Yeah, it's an old man in a wheelchair, on like 5 tanks of oxygen. It's like, can you run a few laps for me, Granddad?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a laptop that was 5 years old or 7 years old, which was already astonishing. And I had a desktop that was about 5 years old. And they said, those are way too old. And I thought, they shouldn't be, you bunch of pricks. You guys make them so they won't last that long, but it's your problem. You can make, they can make a lot of things that last a lot longer than they do.
Well, so, hey, any of the retro replay group out there, my replayers, follow my buddy. This is Chris Edgerly. Voice in all the ancillary voices in The Simpsons. Yeah,
that's
it's so great, man. I remember when you got that gig. I was like,
oh man, I always said everybody's career, no matter how large or small or brief or broad it is, has some sort of golden goose. There's one gig that is the best gig you'll ever have, and a lot of times you don't know what it is until your career is kind of on the wane, until it's maybe wrapping up, and you look back and you go, oh, that was the greatest thing I ever did. That was the thing that took the best care of me and my family, the thing that I did for the longest, the thing that I had the most fun doing. For me, as soon as I got the gig, I realized this will be the greatest thing I ever get to do. And this is
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, there's not even been a question, and I've done some really fun things.
It's nice to be aware of that at the time.
Immediately aware of it. Yeah, it's hard not to be aware of it when you're surrounded by everyone in the room having won an Emmy, and then the show having already been on for over 20 years. You're thinking, I probably should bring my A game today.
But that's a good position to be in, don't you think?
Oh yeah.
It just seems like well, I'm sitting here with pretty much all the stars. And they got nothing left to prove, so
no.
it'll probably be pretty damn cool.
It's people ask me, I say it is exactly as cool as you think it is. It is as fun as you think it is. And has it gotten old? No, it will never get old. What's it like hearing your voice on the show, seeing your name in the credits? It's exactly as cool as you think. It's kind of like being the face of a video game franchise. The face and the name of a franchise. Well, more than one, but you know, Uncharted. I always said Uncharted was your golden goose, but you probably have a couple, I would think.
No. I think you only get one goose unless you're Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
He's got a couple, but I think for me that was undoubtedly the main one that people will remember me by, and that's great. It's over 10 years of my life doing that, and then the funny thing is it was one of those things where I had no idea what it was when it started. I tell people like that. Uncharted, the first one is not Uncharted 1. It was just Uncharted, Drake's Fortune, and you only hope that you have two. Yeah. And so many people ask me like, well, what's your favorite one to do? And it's like, it's a simple answer. It's number 3. And they're like, what? What about the others? I'm like, well, no, and they're always surprised that I answer so quickly. And I put it this way. It's like high school. Uh-huh. Freshman year, nobody knows you. You're new, and you go in there and you make Drake's Fortune. Mm-hmm. Sophomore year comes along, and Uncharted 2 happens, and it becomes one of the biggest hits ever. Right. Now, freshman year was good because Drake's Fortune, they say, that game, and I'm not putting it on me. This is Naughty Dog. This is Amy Hennig. This is, they say it's the game that saved the PS3.
Oh, really?
Because Xbox was kicking ass and taking names here in the U.S. And that game became so popular that franchise became so popular that they say that's what I've been told. So, but Uncharted 2 sophomore year comes along, and wow, it's great. Now you're basically you're the class president, you're the captain of the football team, you're the lead in the school play, you're everything you could possibly want it to be. And then you realize they're going to make 3, and they're making 4. So you walk into 3, it's like we're getting the gang back together. Graham McTavish, who I became friendly with at CSD when you and I used to have to go down there and audition. Yeah. On the Marble.
We'll get into that. Yeah.
We'll definitely get into it. Yeah. So it's one of those things where Graham was Lazarevich in Uncharted 2. We became such good friends that he became Cutter, Drake's best friend. In Uncharted 3. All right. So Uncharted 3 was just a hoot. I mean, it was just so much fun. Mm-hmm. And I knew there would be a 4th one. Now, the 4th one had some controversy around it, but it was still a great time to make. But I knew it was the last. So it just was. So that 3, that's the one that kind of really, I don't know, just really sticks in my mind as in terms of just going to work and laughing your butt off all day.
Right. Well, that is a good feeling too. I think we're like in that way, particularly when you're in the middle of something good. It's already proven, and there's going to be more of it. So it's every time we would get a contract renewal for The Simpsons, it's usually for 2 years. I think my very first contract with them was for 3 years, and for me. Getting that, like for Uncharted, I read for Uncharted. I think we all did. I think we all read for Uncharted. We had to go down and jump through an obstacle course and do the lines and all that. And I thought, I don't know, I guess I got a shot. But I see the way the character looks. And I thought, I think I know who's going to have a better shot at this. So, and because when you see the way the character's drawn up, and he's a smart ass, and, I thought, this is typecasting here. They've got exactly the right guy.
I got 3 polar bears, 3 big Great Pyrenees.
Do you have a big yard for them?
Yeah.
Okay, you're lucky. Yeah. I have never been so jealous of people with yards. That's
why I moved out of the area. I moved out of the places where you can't. There's no space. I got outside LA.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, it's a longer drive." I'm like, "Yeah, but especially now, it's like I don't have to go to work."
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody does.
We've always lived like Europeans. We love to go outside and walk to the village and walk to do everything. It's my favorite thing. So I miss that right now. But the one thing I've always wanted is a yard, and I could pay what I'm paying, which would get me a house and a yard out where you are. Or I could get a, 2-story condo and have a sort of a view and be exactly where I want to be. So of course.
Yeah, but you always knew where you wanted to be.
Oh, yeah.
You always had, I remember you talking about the areas that you were like, oh, if I'm going to buy, it's always going to be.
Yep. I circled
it's location.
It's everything. Of course, then that pandemic curve gets thrown at you and you think, I think living out in the middle of nowhere is not so bad, huh? It's not.
What's funny is people always used to say that they're like, hey, you never have parties, you never come hang out, you're antisocial. And now I'm socially responsible.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the funny thing for me is when I see pro athletes will do a PSA and talk about social distancing, which they should do because everybody should be doing it. But Ben Roethlisberger had one where he says, yeah, we're all stuck inside. Here's what we're doing. And I'm seeing him go around his mammoth dining room table, and I see outside there must be an acre of unobstructed land. And I thought, yeah, that being homebound's got to be a real chore for you there, Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's anything good about this whole virus here in California, it's like you finally get to see what this state would look like with less traffic.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I know.
I'm not trying to make light of a terrible situation.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are suffering, but
yeah.
I also don't think people understand what it's like to drive out here. Sometimes you're like, wow, I had to go out this morning to get some supplies.
Right.
I tell my wife I'm going foraging.
Yeah.
Makes me take the gloves and the mask and everything. I'm like, the mask doesn't help. And she's like, I don't care. Take it.
It actually, what we're learning is it does help. One reason why they said it didn't help is because they didn't want everyone buying them because the health professionals really need them. Like, I went out for a jog this morning.
Do you have any?
We have N95 masks from years ago. I don't know why. Gigi, my wife, told me because I was going to clean under the sink and we didn't know if there was going to be mold. And my mom said, get N95 masks. So we have a box of these things. We have like 8 of them. And
well, you know what's funny?
Yeah.
We're the same way. A year ago, a little over a year ago, we were displaced by the Woolsey fire out here.
Yeah.
So, everything behind you this was all, we had to get everything out.
Yeah.
Everything, construction crew came in and ripped up all the carpeting and we had to repaint everything, which, thank you, insurance, didn't pay for my painting. Stupid. But, all kinds of stuff we had to do. And I found a box of N95 masks because during the cleanup, because they say things are going to get worse here in the next week to 10 days as we hit the curve here in California.
Yeah, especially because I think there's going to get worse in a lot of places where people don't think it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
This thing doesn't have a...
No.
We just have to ride this out for as long as it takes. But social distancing, I think it'll be easier here in... Easier? Why do I sound like that?
Yeah.
It'll be easier in my house.
If you have a little pony and a little mule you have inside your house, you can feed them. That's how we stay inside.
What do you think? I have a hot tub. I was going to get a cigar and go in there and start doing it. I'm here with my dogs. I'm self-quarantining. I'm sheltering in place.
I know.
In California.
This is the hard part is that they ask famous people to reinforce the idea of social distancing, which again, they should be doing. But every famous person lives on about a fucking acre and they can't help but show you all the room they have. They need to go with like somebody who used to be famous, who now lives in a 2-bedroom in the middle of East Hollywood.
But I think it's better here in California because we do have a little bit of distance. You think about...
We do.
It's so bad in Italy, and it's such a social culture. It's such a... Here, we joked about driving, but people don't realize people will drive down their driveway to get their mail rather than walk.
It's interesting.
the homeless have auto premiums.
Yeah.
It's like it's ridiculous. So I think the fact that we have more separation. San Francisco is very congested. New York City, very congested.
Yeah.
I think that those areas are going to be where people have to be the most careful.
Yeah, and in Italy, they were not taking the lockdown seriously because, like you said, if you just say hello to someone in Italy, you're getting a second base. We gotta
practice the social distance.
Yeah, because I know on the chat here, I want to know where everyone is watching from. Yeah, look at we got Mexico, we got Ohio, Rhode Island. Got a Rhode Island.
Hey, check out this. I got this recently. It's a Starbucks series, and I'm actually drinking my coffee this morning from the Rhode Island cup.
There you go.
Look at that. It's beautiful. It's got Narragansett Bay. It's got the Tennis Hall of Fame.
What is that, Shreveport?
Except it doesn't have Bickford's pancakes and family fare.
Yeah, Rhode Island is...
Reservoir Avenue.
Rhode Island's basically one city, right? Basically? I mean...
Town.
Yeah. What's the capital?
Where in Rhode Island are you from? I'm like, anywhere 10 minutes outside Providence.
Yeah.
Everything's 10 minutes outside Providence.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Your Uncharted gig. Once you had that gig, I remember that happened for you, what was it, like around 07 maybe? 06, 07?
Yeah, it was...
Ish?
Yeah, I think it was 07 that happened. Because I thought the big break was, remember, TMNT. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, yeah.
07, and it was...
Yeah.
They put me and...
James Arnold Taylor.
Mitchell Whitfield.
And Mikey Kelly.
Yeah. And, none of us made the poster. It was Sarah... Sarah Michelle Gellar and Patrick Stewart, Chris Evans.
Right.
I don't remember. But didn't matter. We thought that was going to be kind of a big deal. Come here. What's this?
Look at that big boy.
Hopper.
Yeah.
Hopper. He's big.
He is a big one.
And see if I can... what's up, buddy? Huh? Oh. 140 pounds.
Really?
Yes. And he likes to go under another desk in the corner. Here you go. Go on. It's all good. Let me get that situated for you. He's going to get himself nice and comfy, and so am I. So, how are we back? Are we back?
Get yourself a nice fluffy dog to pet there.
That's right, it's a nice dog. Just lonely, I guess. I'm going to teach him to walk backwards. Look at me like a cyclops.
Say that. Say that, son.
Hey there, Fudge Eye. How you doing?
Maybe
Name that dog Spider Bite.
name that dog Mud Whistle. Huh? This is what you people don't know, all right?
This is welcome to On the Marble.
Yeah, right around 2000, the end of 2002.
I can't believe we brought that shit back.
Yeah, why not? What the hell? What are they going to do? Right around the end of 2002, I was at KSA, Kazarian Spencer and Associates, and were you ever with them?
Yes,
Right at the end? Okay, but I didn't meet you there.
Listen, I just talked to Miley Flanagan about this.
Okay.
It was you, me, Fred Tatasciore, Keith Ferguson. Miley Flanagan, and a couple others that our esteemed agent, Pat Brady.
Reason I have a career.
I remember her calling me in and saying, I'm going over to CESD. It's a great agency. It's a better opportunity. So I just wanted to let you know and everything. I said, well, thank you so much. I appreciate the start. Who will be handling me there? And there's this pause, and she was like, "You're coming with me, stupid."
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, great. Thank God. And you know something, we talked about Uncharted, but that may have been a bigger break.
Yeah, for both of us.
Just having I'm going to move that camera. Just having, Pat Brady be part of my life.
Yeah, the biggest break I've ever had is Pat Brady signing me. And I tell people, everybody says, how do you get into the business? How do you get to where you are? there are a lot of factors, but you don't do it by yourself. And I can trace back to, in 5 or 6 moves, if I go back in time to these pivot points, these slingshot points where you get new momentum, I can go all the way back in about 5 or 6 moves to me picking up the phone in Orlando, Florida, and cold calling an agent in Orlando, Florida, to getting to where I'm on The Simpsons. 5 or 6 moves. And I picked up the phone, I called up an agent. And in Orlando, you can cold call an agent and they'll give you a meeting. And so in 93 especially. So I get a meeting.
We're very much into furries.
Yeah.
I order furry suit.
Do you mind doing non-union industrial, they may never pay you stuff out in the Everglades for a paint company? Sure. You and 80 other people are going out for it. Good luck. So, yeah, that's Orlando. But I cold call them. They give me a meeting. They hire me based on a monologue I do. And then flash forward to, they have you come in, you do a monologue, and they say, yeah, I'll work with you. All right, you know what you're doing. You're already doing stand-up. You have a drama minor in college. I know you've done a few things at least, so you're not an idiot. So, and then flash forward to, because I'd been working with them, I had gotten known to a couple of production companies around town doing voiceover. So I'm doing scratch tracks at Sound Deluxe in Orlando for the Spider-Man ride, which is not going to come out until 99. So based on doing the scratch tracks, the director of the ride says, I like the Spider-Man voice you did. I want you to be Spider-Man on the ride. Okay, so now I'm Spider-Man. Cut to 2000. The ride's already opened. I've moved to L.A., and I don't have an agent. And John Rust...
I've turned down on-camera stuff because it doesn't... A, it's just not as fulfilling, and B, it's just not as... quite frankly, won't pay as well.
Yeah.
And, everybody, we want first position. It's like, sorry, what I do takes first position, so...
It's funny because people will still ask me, hey, would you take a role on a voice acting thing if it was this and this? And my answer is, unless it's for like a commercial for a political candidate that I know nothing about, the answer is yes. This is still a volume business. We still read for a lot of things. Yep. And I generally have the time to do all the work they're going to give me. Although there are some things I don't audition for because they tax my voice too much and I have to leave it pristine for The Simpsons above everything else. So a lot of video games I backed off of auditioning for because I think you coined the term. I look at the breakdown and I say, this is going to be a blood throat. I can't read for this. I can't shout incoming for 4 straight hours anymore. I'm sorry.
Well, a lot of times now they say, and I'll look at them and I think you and I probably got the time served, so to speak.
Yeah.
That you just basically go, look, it's the law of diminishing returns. Can I stream for 4 hours? Yeah. 2, you're going to get quality.
Right.
Honestly, it was like, I don't remember the last time I don't really have too many of those things where they need like we did in the early days where it was Call of Duty. I did Call of Duty Big Red 1. It was the only one where I actually lost my voice doing, I did a Russian who talked like this.
Oh, yeah.
Vasily! And it was really, Vasily, get down!
Yeah.
Because I affected the voice like this. And I started screaming.
Mm-hmm.
And because my own voice, I can scream, no problem.
Yeah.
But, that other shit, that was.
Well, it's.
So, but I don't think it doesn't, and the funny thing is, it's like, that's, if that's what's considered, quote unquote, like an entry level for voiceover, there's plenty of actors who want to get in and you gotta be willing to do that. We did that for years.
I did. Yeah. I've done over 100 games and at least 90 of them, I don't know if I would go out for anymore. I'd look at it and say, I know what this is going to be. I mean, there's no way it can't be anything else. So, that's true. Yeah, let the 27-year-old me do that. He's up for it. He'll do it. That was the same guy who was partying with the waitstaff out in Erie, Indiana, who didn't give a shit about anything. So, at the club.
I'm good with it. Let's go.
Yeah, so, but I remember the only time I've ever technically lost my voice after a game, oddly enough, was doing Flight Simulator. There's no yelling in Flight Simulator except for when you decide to press down on the yoke for too long. And now we need you to go, for about 5 seconds.
How did you lose your voice on that?
Well, the odd thing is it's just 4 straight hours of very measured tones talking like a pilot. And the next day, I had my falsetto and I had my bass. So I could do this and I could do this. My mid-range, gone. Completely gone for one day.
Yeah, they say that whispering's harder than
Whispering is actually, if you don't do it properly, whispering will tax your vocal cords more because it's a rasp, like the Russian character you did. So, I lost it for one day and then it came back, but it kind of freaked me out. I thought, wait a minute, I thought it was only after screaming. I probably was not using very good breath control, and I was probably, because I screamed for 3 straight days as Paul Walker for a movie he did where I had to do ADR, and I had to replace every screaming curse word, and it was in a movie where he cursed just about every line, and he screamed every line, and I get there, and I'm starting to do the lines, and I'm screaming from my diaphragm so I can save my voice, and the ADR director said, no, in the movie, he's screaming from his throat, so you have to scream from your throat, and I thought,
Do you know what I was talking about? I was telling someone the other day, back in the day, how we used to do voice matches.
Yeah.
And what it was like, a lot of people don't know that there'd be like 8 to 10 guys, sometimes more.
I've never told this story.
All called at the same time.
Yeah,
Everybody shows up at 2:00, and then you literally would parade in one at a time, and then go back and wait, and all 10 guys would be, and then someone would come in and go, thank you, everybody. You're all wonderful. We're going to go with Chris today.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right. And nobody really was like pissed off. It was like, oh, good for you.
Yeah. Well, if you were lucky, that's how it worked. I remember one time we used to go out to Sony, and I remember there was one time where there were about 5 or 6 of us there. I don't think you were there, and it wouldn't have mattered if you were there because it was a David Spade voice match. And I was looking around to see if James Arnold Taylor was there. And I said, okay, guys, huddle up. If James Arnold Taylor doesn't show up, one of us will get it. But as soon as he shows up, we can all go home because he sounds exactly like him. And it had been about 20 minutes and we're waiting around. And then I see coming around the corner, it's James. And I went, hey, James, I'll see you guys later. And James just sort of smiled and said, hey, what's up? What's up? And he goes in, and 5 minutes later, and I said, as he was inside, I said, guys, I hate being right, but just wait for it. And he comes out and he says, so how you guys been? How's it? He's just chatting. And then on his heels, the producer comes out and says, thanks, everybody. We're going to go with James. And I just,
Yeah.
There are some times when that happens.
That one guy, the new guy, was like, hey, you didn't even listen to me. It's like, I
don't have to. Yeah, I don't need to.
He sounds more like David Spade than David Spade.
Yeah, it's like, guys, this is due 20 minutes ago. Close. Okay. Yeah. There was one time. Well, I remember.
Which one? Which one did you do?
All right. There was one where you and I went in and we were the only ones there. And first of all, I voice matched an actor named Gabriel Macht. And he's been in a few things. And I was literally the only guy that showed up. They kept waiting around. They said, I don't know. It's not like the directions were hard. Where is everybody? And I just sat there. And they finally came out after an hour and they said, well, you were pretty close. So, hey, you got it. And so I showed up and I booked it.
I'm the only one here.
I'm the only one here. And they said, yeah, you were pretty close anyway. You might have gotten it anyway. But so one time you and I went to Sony, and I think it was ADR 3 in the larger room. And it was for Vince Vaughn for Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
I remember that.
And that was probably literally a coin flip. I mean, I do a pretty good Vince Vaughn, but I'm sure you do too. And I booked that one, and I still get little tiny Mr. and Miss Smith checks. But there was another time,
I didn't. I don't do a good one.
Okay.
He does a really good one. Do you know Todd Stashwick?
No, I don't know. I don't know him.
Todd Stashwick is a buddy of mine. He was most recently on like 12 Monkeys. He's done a bunch of stuff.
Right.
And he is from Chicago.
Uh-huh.
And he nails. He was probably on a TV series back then, so he didn't come into those things we were reading for. But he nailed it. He's like, he just sounds just like him. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. There was a period where you and I were going out for the same voice matches with some other people, and you were just getting all of them. You had a run where you got John Travolta, you got Lars Ulrich in Get Him to the Greek, and you got Christopher Walken. Any Christopher Walken.
About Lars Ulrich. Christopher Walken I did 6 or 7 times.
Yeah, and I do a pretty good Christopher Walken, but a lot of people don't realize my Christopher Walken's. It's not bad. It just depends on the gig. It depends on what you're talking about. because
that sounds like Christopher Walken doing a Chris Edgerly impression.
Yeah, you have to filter it.
The thing about it is, all the ADRs they always want the smaller lines.
Yeah,
so it was really down here.
Right.
You got it.
Yeah.
They took her crazy. They killed the girl. That was the one. They got it. I will tell you something though. Of all the ones I've ever done, watching it back, John Travolta is probably the best ADR impression I can.
You've ever done? Okay.
Because I was with Tony Scott. I worked with him. God rest his soul. A number of times. To the point where one time when I was walking out of a WB session, Tommy, the sound engineer there, they said, "Hey, Nolan, you got a Christopher Walken fan in here." And I was like, who is it? It's my buddy Tony. I'm like, Tommy, you're a man. And I was just doing the whole thing, and these guys, I walk out, and it's Tony Scott. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Are you busy?" And he put me in Deja Vu.
Oh, really?
My voice. And we ended up working. I had worked on it with him before,
Nice.
Man on Fire, over the phone.
Okay.
Doing Christopher Walken. He said,
Right.
"That was you, yeah." Then he puts me in Deja Vu. Just if anybody ever watches the movie, there's a part where the girl comes home and she presses the answering machine, and I'm her ex-boyfriend.
Okay.
On the answering machine. It's just my voice.
All right.
And I worked with him a number of times after that. And taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 was by far. I remember we were doing scratch for Travolta.
Mm-hmm.
And sadly, his son died while we were doing it. And Tony called me in. He said, "I need you to finish this." Because Tony Scott never, ever had one of those movies like, "Hey, Mother Fletcher," where he would recut his film for airplanes and broadcast television.
Mm-hmm.
So he sat me down and he just said, "I need you to finish the film. It's going to be your voice. We're not going to ask him to scratch it." And, and I remember one time it was like, "What are you gonna do, Carver? Are you gonna shoot me?" And you put that with his face, and I remember turning. I went, "My God, that sounds just like him."
Yeah.
And he just looked at me and he started laughing. He goes, and I think it was the casting director, Juno. Remember Juno?
I think so.
Juno?
I think so.
Juno looked at me and she goes, "That's why we cast you." And I'm like, "I know, but that's really close. That doesn't sound like an impression." And it's like, it's not Vinnie Barbarino. It's not like some kind of funny impression. It's
people think they have to do the Dana Carvey impression of Travolta. He's like really weird. It's like, no, he's not a sweat hog. Yeah. I even talked about this before. People think doing ADR voice matching is an impression. No, not really. It's just an easy way to say it. But voice matching is on the day, the way that actor sounded, you have to sound. That actor might not even be able to recapture it on the day. You've got to come in and you've got to do exactly what they had and you've got to recreate it. And you were able to, and it's a very technical skill. And so, you heard Travolta, you heard your voice, and you said, "I'm going to tweak it this way," and it slots right in.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's why I think I never felt upset or rejected when we had those kind of sessions, because it wasn't that and I tell anybody who wants to be actors this all the time, don't look at it like we don't want you. We just want someone else more. Yeah. They fit better. They fit what we need. Yeah. And I think that when you make that distinction, it takes out the whole, is this personal? I'm sitting around the room. We would all walk out. And the great thing is, like, I remember you and I did that one time, and we didn't, and I think Fred was there too. Yeah. And we didn't, none of us got it. Didn't we end up going to get beer? A couple
Probably.
Beers or something. Just why I was a while ago, but I mean, I think we were like, thank God we didn't get that job, because we ended up going and getting some food and we had a good time. So the only other one I remember doing, I forgot about Lars Ulrich. That
was the one. Now. Yeah, I remember thinking, there are not a lot of us here. There's a good chance of this. I think I could do it, and I probably do it pretty good, Lars Ulrich, but it's not as good as the Nolan North Lars Ulrich. It fits this thing on that day, but that's the thing. It's like in sports.
I don't even know what he sounds like. I did Sam Shepard once, and I'm like,
oh man, yeah. Well,
he was a lot higher than you think. Yeah, he was up higher.
I always say it's like in sports. Oh, we got a bunch of bad calls. It's like, yeah, but over the course of a season, the calls even out. So, I didn't sound that great on the day. Tomorrow, you're going to sound better. You're going to get that one. I mean, there was one. where we went in. I think Fred was there. I don't know if you were there. And it was for a Travolta movie, but it was not Travolta. It's for a Travolta movie, Basic, which I still get tiny checks for. We always get these tiny checks. This movie was from like 2000, I think, or 02, or it might have been, it was 03. They wanted Giovanni Ribisi. So I watch whatever I can of Giovanni Ribisi the night before. We go to Warner Brothers. We sit in the room. And if you're lucky, you get to go in for one at a time. But sometimes you all sit down together in a room. They had us on an L-shaped couch. There were about 8 of us. And the guy comes out and he goes, all right, here on the screen is Giovanni Ribisi's scene. Now, before the casting meeting started, there was a guy hanging out with all of us who was auditioning, and he sounded exactly like Giovanni Ribisi. We all knew it, and he knew it. And he was doing more talking than anybody else because he knew if there's ever any psych outs going on in the voiceover world, and it usually doesn't happen, this would have been one of those times. And I thought I probably would have done it too. He sounds exactly like him. I'm sitting here listening going, I'm not going to get this thing. He sounds exactly like him. So then they sit us all down. They play the scene, and in the scene, Giovanni Ribisi is in the hospital. He's all drugged up. And he's speaking a lot slower, and his voice is lower. And I'm all drugged up. And I realized that doesn't sound like Giovanni Ribisi. That sounds like Giovanni Ribisi all drugged up. And you could see the poor guy, all the piss went out of him. Because he didn't, it's like, that's not how I sound. And the casting director said, okay, so here's the scene. All right, everybody see it? There's the line we want to do. All right, we're going to watch it one more time. There's the scene. There's the line we want to do. You guys good? Okay, good. All right, go. And the first guy went, what? And he goes, do the line. And the casting director's got his eyes closed and he's just listening. So the poor guy in front of the other 7 people has to do it. And I'm exactly in the middle. So that by the time they get to me, I'm not the deer in headlights. It's awful. And I've booked 2 jobs like that where everybody is sitting there and the first guy, he says, go. Do the line. Yeah.
That's not fair.
That's like watching a chorus line. All right, you. Thank you. Go home.
Show me jazz hands.
Yeah, jazz hands. Okay, not good enough. Go home. So on any other day, that guy would have walked out there with the job. Yeah, not that day.
You know, if somebody asked me, they said, hey, do you still do those? And I'm like, no, did I do? And I felt bad. I'm like, I don't really get called for those anymore. And if it's, I don't know. It's just,
I still get them all the time. They're coming along, like just voice matches. Yeah.
You can, I mean, you've always been very good at that.
It's part of what I do.
Something.
Yeah.
Let me turn the tables on here. Let me do a little bit of interviewing you, Chris Edgerly. There he is. Look at that. How did you get that far with a lazy eye?
Yeah, I know. The other eye works twice as hard.
Your Bosco twice a day. Chocolate milk. Good for you after a workout. Back here with Chris Edgerly.
Nolan and I go all the way back to like early 03 is when I think we came on each other's radars because I was aware of you at CESD. I don't think I was ever at KSA waiting to read when you were there. I remember Graham came in around, I think 08 maybe, or no, probably 2011 or 12. No, 2010, I think.
I don't know. I'm going to ask him next time.
11, yeah. I got to talk to him. I want to have him on the stream because I don't talk to him anymore. But I remember Graham would come in.
I can make that happen.
I know. So you got that kind of pull.
He's down in he's in New Zealand.
Yeah, he basically moved there. Well, yeah, and the reason why is I remember Graham moved here. Graham moved here in his 40s. And he moved here as a character actor from England who had been doing well, but just thought, let me take the plunge and go to LA and see if I can make this happen. And he immediately starts booking stuff. And we'd see him around at the office, have conversations, have a great time talking to him. And one day I read that he was going to be Dwalin for The Hobbit. I thought, I know that guy. This is going to be the biggest movie of the year. And I know a guy playing a major part in it. Next time I see him, I got to ask how. And he says, I went in for the first audition, and they had me back for Peter, and then they had me back one more time, and that was it. I said, you had 3 auditions total? And he goes, yes. And they said, all right, you're Dwalin. and we're moving to New Zealand because they're going to make 3 of them. At first, they were going to make 2, and then they said, let's make 3. And his wife is from New Zealand. And I thought, 3 auditions. When you're on camera, sometimes you are 1 good week away from an entire career blowing up. And that,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think he got that when he was 50. He just turned 50.
Yeah.
Which was pretty amazing. But he, I think I was with him when he got the call.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I think I got pretty sure, or it was the next day, and he was very understanding. He said, "Oh yes, but I got the dwarf role." Because I think we were working on Uncharted 2 at the time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think we were working on Uncharted 2 because we had to get all kinds of stuff for Uncharted 3. We had to try to get him back and forth, and
right,
because he's done Creed now, and
and
he went to Outlander, and then the Preacher.
Yeah,
and I was actually in Australia last year for the couple conventions, and they were shooting the last season of Preacher there, and I got to go and see him right there. Just happened to be in the same city, so it was a lot of fun.
Nice. Yeah, he's basically always working somewhere, isn't he?
Yeah, he stays busy.
Yeah,
I mean, but when he's here, he's usually in my guest bedroom. I have to break out the rubber sheets, and repaint the room after he leaves every time. It's very strange.
Those Scots. Well, I mean, he's actually English. I'm sure he's Scottish.
Friendly.
Yeah, he's got a proper British accent, but he's got the most Scottish name.
His parents were from Scotland.
Yeah.
Or his mother was English, his father was Scottish.
Yeah. Those careers we would see just suddenly change like that after 2 or 3 auditions. It's amazing. Somebody on the chat said Graham needs to be on a retro replay episode.
He has been.
Oh, he's done one.
No, we don't have anybody on usually the retro replay show proper.
Yeah.
That's just us on the couch doing our thing.
Right.
But Graham definitely came in Uncharted 2. He came when we did a playthrough.
Okay, yeah.
I for your listeners, I had never played Uncharted. And so we streamed me playing the first one and the second one. We were kind of getting, and what we do is we bring in people from, like Claudia Black,
right,
Emily Rose, obviously, and we were saving Uncharted 3. Richard McGonigal was the person I really wanted. He played Sully. Nice. So Uncharted 3 is just, that one's kind of because of the, the recent events. It's kind of, we're trying to figure out what we're doing with our shows. We can't record right now, so. But we're gonna, make sure we keep something for the replayers. Actually, we have a little phone meeting today in a couple hours to go over some ideas. But thank God we have this. Yeah, we have this kind of forum where we can do things. Like you and I talked about having the home studio for because a lot of our work, they're alone somewhere. I remember I did a Coca-Cola radio spot. Mm-hmm. I was in LA at a studio. Tom Kane was at his home studio in Kansas City, and the client was on the phone in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And we were all patched in, and this was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. This is a while back. Amazing. So, I mean, today, it's pretty amazing what we're capable of. So. Oh yeah, I'm going to do a virtual table read tomorrow, and it's going to basically be a bunch of us using Zoom, and some of us will be on camera, some of us will just be phone numbers in a box, and every time they laugh, you'll see their box light up, and that's how that's how everybody gets mic'd, and then when the time comes, I will swivel my chair around, lower my little green screen here, step into my booth and record using the Source Connect. So, we are part of the fortunate employment class that hopefully will not see any of our voiceover work change or go away. They can make those adjustments. I think a big part of that is going to be, we've got to keep bringing content for people in the gaming industry. Right. And they've been working on things, and it's easy just to like you said, Source Connect, you get ISDN line, whatever it is, and you bring that that capability to people you work with. And it's nice because people don't realize that, we're just another cog in the wheel. It's an important cog. I don't want to downplay that, but they still, it's still, you're still able to put that piece together. So even if the developers with a skeleton crew, I heard somewhere that they might be some like 1 week, or like they've partitioned it out where just the bare minimums to keep things going, and people can work from home, and stuff. So that's amazing. You just need a few. If we can just keep a few jobs. The one thing about a self quarantine or a shelter in place order is my whole family realized how consumerist we were.
Oh yeah.
And you realize they're like, you don't really, go get your groceries and maybe enjoy the things you have.
Right.
Rather than coveting certain things. Now, I was busy with a bunch of online purchases to get all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
What do they say? Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
Like I've been putting it off. I like going to work. I like going to a studio and doing my job, seeing people, being social that way. Because when I come here, I go into a self-quarantine on a regular basis. It's just like lock the gates and, give me a glass of bourbon and I'm going to nap. Yeah.
Yeah. And well, that was some of the people on the chat are wondering what is going to happen with Retro Replay. I mean, if you could take us through how Retro Replay started and where you're going to make the adjustment now that things are the way they are, at least for the time being.
Well, first, where we're going to make the adjustment, we're going to be talking about that. Hold on, fix that camera. We're going to talk about that today, actually. We have a phone meeting to figure out how it takes shape until this shelter-in-place order is gone. But we have great. We have like one of the best communities out there. We call them the Replayers, the Founding 500. There have been a number of them who have, they're paid subscribers. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel for free, but then there are tiered memberships. If any of those people are listening who have had to drop that membership for foreseeable future, we love you still. Don't, hang in there. We'll be back, but save your money and use it to pay your rent and your groceries and take care of yourself and your health and your loved ones, because you don't get kicked out of the Retro Replay Club. It's not you're always once you're a Founding 500 member, you're always a Founding 500 member, whether you're a paid member or not. It's fine, but take care of yourselves right now. Yeah. So how it came about is PJ Harsman and I had done a show called Con Man with Alan Tudyk, Nathan Fillion, Mindy Sterling. A bunch of people came in to do it, but PJ and I really enjoyed working with each other. And another person who's a huge part of Retro Replay is Drew Lewis. And Drew had the idea of me playing games, and I didn't really know too much about games. And at the cons, I always had enjoyed doing my panels, but I found more enjoyment from personally when I did them with Troy Baker, who's just incredibly prolific in gaming as well. He's a real, he's a game geek. He knows games, and he's always told me, hey, if you try this, we're gonna play this one, and it felt like a better dynamic to have two people. I just didn't know what I would be talking about, and we play off each other really well. So honestly, there's a studio space that we have in Irvine that PJ has and Drew with their company, and we all just partnered up. And I remember the first show, we said, just turn on the cameras and let's see what we do.
Right.
Let's see what it is. You know, we'd worked on formats and ideas, and I mean, I'm oversimplifying it, but you know, I really give it up to PJ and Drew for being the impetus, and then you know, Troy and I come down and lend our talents, and I mean, everybody has their part, and we've just been, you know, we just had fun. We had fun with it, and it was never really. It was about building a community, you know, and having these great followers. That, you know, we have one couple that she was from New Zealand, he's from Tampa. He just moved. They got engaged. He just moved to New Zealand, so we have our own. Yeah. The Greg and Sarah. I mean, it's pretty amazing. So
everyone's moving to New Zealand.
Yeah,
so
it's the place.
Pretty nice, I hear.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah,
it's it's the last haven, last hope for the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
But you know, it's been a blast. I mean, we really had a great time, and like I said, we're going to get something out there for people to get content to everybody.
Right.
You know, we owe it to them. So
it's not ending.
You know, it may be from here.
Right.
And Troy's got an amazing home setup.
Right.
Because he's also a musician.
Yeah.
And so I'm still, honestly, it's kind of on me right now, trying to get everything organized and up and ready. I'm pretty darn close.
Yeah.
The other thing is I also have to make sure I get my professional studio set up in the other room for work. But this will be for fun work.
Yeah. I mean, I did a squad up on this stream with Roger Craig Smith, and I was able to, using the OBS that I think you have, I was able to have myself in one corner, Roger in the other corner, and then the entire rest of the screen was the game we were playing. And I'm sure people would watch Retro Replay in that form, so that you guys, all you would need is someone remotely saying, here's the game, here's where you're going to be able to do it. Somebody could help you produce it. The two of you would still be right there playing. You could still play off each other. I mean, and this would be the, you know, just the version it would exist in until everybody got to be around each other again. I mean, there's so many options. So I
also have my over here. I got my TV and my PS4, and I have this. I'm working on setting up an Elgato Stream Deck that so I can stream the game. But you seem to be pretty savvy, and I know you're just as stupid as I am. So if you could do it, maybe I can do it.
Oh yeah.
I got to just figure it out. I'm actually in the home studio. I was like, I got to get a Cat 5 wire, and the guy who did my system actually put a Cat 6 wire in that area. So I was like, oh my god, this is great. But it's just the frayed end. So I've been on YouTube like how to get a Cat 6 connector, so it goes in. So wish me luck.
Good luck, because I luckily have my brother Dave, who usually will.
He's just an amazing artist. I didn't know he was so.
No, he's really good just with figuring things out. I mean, I'm good with abstract ideas. I'll talk to you about concepts all day long, but you know, I can hang a painting, sort of. But if I can use an automatic stud finder, an electric stud finder, but
you have to use that.
Yeah.
Fresh batteries is the key to that.
Yeah, exactly. But otherwise, no, I don't do tech stuff very well. Over time, through osmosis, I sort of gradually absorb some of the ideas, and I can kind of understand it. But no, the mods on my channel here, the moderators will tell you, no, there's a lot of hand-holding going on when EDGEVOICE streams here. It's not pleasant.
You know what? I think that people don't realize that. You know, we, for the most part, have relied on amazing engineers. And audio engineers to get us to sound good. And now it's like, I can't even get one to come over to the house and just...
No. Yeah, people will say,
hazmat suits, like, just set up the studio. Just
please.
Press that to record, stand here.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's all I want to do. And they'll ask me, I know it now by rote because I keep getting asked, but what's your home setup? What are your specs? All right, I have a Source Connect. I use this mic.
Did you just get that email from the agency?
I got it 4 different times because I have myself, my son, my daughter. They're all technically clients, and my son has booked a few jobs, and so they need to know what's going on, and so I have to.
Get you.
Yeah, exactly. So I know my stuff, but don't ask me to make any tweaks. They asked, "Hey, could you do one with this kilohertz, instead of that kilohertz?" And I said,
"I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that is. What corner of the screen is the lever that I pull for that?"
Who's a killer? Killer what?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I have no idea because I just want to have this. And the screen and a game to play and people to talk to and I've partnered up with my brother now. He's basically going to be doing tech and production stuff for me because I
nice.
Yeah, I don't he's keeping everything my stream makes right now because he was in the hospitality industry for his day job and that all disappeared. And so now everything the Edge Voice Streamcast makes on YouTube, on Twitch, on any cameo videos I do, it's all going to his household because I'm pretty sure the stimulus ain't going to cut it for long. Whatever it is they passed, I might get him through a month.
Right? I don't know.
I shudder to think. But
I don't know. It's an odd time. I think the biggest thing is just what they're going to do with rent and mortgage. I mean these.
They may have to freeze them for a while.
I know some people who were actually buying a new house and they were halfway through escrow and the lender just pulled out.
Oh man!
They said we can't fund the loan. No way. We don't know the value of your house. Everything's changing. So they say dip into your savings. And that stuff. Like, what people don't have savings.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. Yeah.
So I'm hopefully. There's something nice I read. Dax Shepard and I worked with her. What's his wife? Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell.
She was in Assassin's Creed with me. We actually, I don't know if I ever told you this. We did a session together.
Okay.
When we were doing Assassin's Creed, and
she was a big fan of this voice. She even did it herself.
So she's very, very cool. They apparently own property, and they have renters.
All right.
They are. They just, at least for the next 3 months, or maybe just foreseeable future, they are forgiving rent. They're just saying you don't have to pay your rent for the next few months.
Nice.
Which is, that's a huge help to the people living in that building. But,
although it would be funny if they personally went down and kicked them out as Dax Shepard and just as the girl from The Good Place.
Yeah. Hey, we're just kidding. Get out.
Yeah, no, seriously. I need an extra place for my art.
Well,
okay,
here's the thing. Anybody who is a landlord that kicks their people out, good luck getting another tenant.
Yeah. Good luck getting a brand new soul, because I don't know how you're going to scrub that one clean after that horse shit. So,
I mean, it's just be ridiculous, right?
Yeah. So
I think the mortgages, I think that kind of stuff, like I said, we're kind of going off bare minimums. I'm not going to spend that much on gas for the cars.
Right.
I'm not going to have to worry about anything like that. Fortunately, we've had rain, so the water bill is going to be lower than it typically is. I mean, I'm just trying to think about the other things. I think we just, hunker down and do the best. I think as long as there's eggs.
Yeah, I've basically.
We should get chickens. I'm like, really?
I have a friend who has
3 massive
dogs. Yeah.
I got 3 of them. The 2 puppies aren't here. I mean, they're in the backyard.
So great, we're gonna feed the dogs for a day with the chickens.
Yeah, so mine, that's the thing. So this dog, their food comes in we got Chewy.com.
Yeah.
Another person that's like, you sponsor me. I buy a lot of food from you because 140-pound Great Pyrenees, and then the 2 puppies are like 80 pounds each now.
Wow.
And they're 1. They just turned 1. So there's a lot of. I figured, hey, we can eat them, you know.
Yeah. Well, this is about the time you would have thought we should have gotten those teacup poodles. They eat like a crust of bread every day, and that's it.
Yeah,
just a little.
Eat a teacup poodle.
Yeah, well,
the point.
they're kind of the
30s. Not all at once. Like, hey, a 3-legged dog. Well, you don't need a dog that big.
Yeah, dog that talented. You don't need them. Every joke is funnier with the Herbert the Pervert voice. Well, a dog that talented. Just do a leg at a time.
Hey, got some grape soda in the basement if you're interested.
Say, Paperboy, I'll make sure I stay 6 feet away if you come on in and help me clean my gutters.
Yeah, I can't promise to stay so far away. Shelter in your place.
By the way, this is what we talk about when Nolan said on the marble. Right around 03, okay, we all go to CESD, which is a bigger agency, and they have these recording booths inside an office that's all carpeted. And then there's a huge atrium for the building, and that's all marble. Now, CESD rented offices for the agents, and across the marble hall, they rented carpeted recording booths for the assistants and the engineers. That was their office, their rules. We had to abide by them. On the marble...
When we only had 3 booths?
Yeah. Yeah, we had about 3 booths.
So we have 2 and wait 2-3 hours.
Before everybody started sending in their auditions from home, because before everybody had a decent mic set up, probably I would say from about 03 to probably, I don't know, 2012, 2010, it was, you would walk in, you'd get an appointment time, you'd walk in, and it didn't matter when you showed up. You weren't getting in for 2 hours. So all I needed to see was Nolan's face, Quentin Flynn's face, Phil Tanzini's face, and John Mariano's face. Any of those people or anybody else that we knew, but you guys in particular were game for anything. And John Mariano in particular, he is a genius at improv and ad-libbing. And we would just sit there, we would glance at our copy and toss it aside. And after that, it was just, how can I make these other guys laugh? And the amount of politically incorrect jokes that went up in the air is uncountable. I mean, we hit every single base you could possibly hit, and it was just about cracking each other up. And I think the straw that broke the camel's back was Sean Connery. I think that's what finally...
And remember, Jason, who's become a friend of mine, I don't know if I noticed that.
I know you got to know him, yeah.
Friends of Graham, and he became a friend of mine.
Oh, yeah, and I got to know him there. He's a great guy, you know, yeah. But
yes, we used to do that. We used to remember. I came up with Sean Connery had he not made it.
Yeah,
like had he not been Sean Connery and he just walked into CSD to auditions with the rest of us schmucks at the time. Like, fellas, I fingers crossed. I just had a wonderful meeting over at Disney for the new Cheetah Girls movie. I'll be playing a bartender named Rick. So, that Raven Simone, she is quite a talent. Next day, so I didn't get it. I decided to go with African American, apparently. Diversity for diversity's sake, I say. I nailed that. I actually made an actual gin and tonic.
Yeah,
Sean, how's it going? Good. I just went for a Firestone. Yes, tires.
I have a callback.
By the way, my favorite day, and I know you were there. I'm pretty sure you were there. We had a friend, I haven't spoken to him in years, but Sean Donnellan.
Yeah.
Who is, oh my God. He was one of the driest, funniest people.
Very funny.
I've ever met.
Very dry.
And one very hot day in Los Angeles, we're all sitting there waiting for, everybody to, waiting for your turn. You sign in at a piece of paper and they say, okay, Chris, your turn. Come on in. And we're all sitting there just talking. And I think you were there. And
I think I came in.
Sitting there.
Yeah.
And Fred Tatasciore walked in, and Fred was clearly hot. Fred was he looked like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. His hair was falling in his face, dripping wet, sweating. His shirt was, and he came running in, signed us on, and he just starts writing his name down, signing in, and Sean Nolan just very quietly just looks, goes, busy morning burying the cheerleaders in the backyard, Fred? And without missing a beat, Fred Tatasciore just turns from signing and goes, well, it is Tuesday.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the air into my lungs to make the sound of laughter. And I think we all just started laughing so hard. I mean, somebody said, "Hey guys, got to keep it quiet because the soundproof rooms could hear us all laughing." Sean Nolan, God, he was funny.
I came in, I think, in the aftermath of that.
Quick,
yeah.
For people who don't know Sean Nolan, if you do a YouTube search, you know what? Let me wonder if I can find this for people.
He's done a lot of stuff.
YouTube search for. Have you ever seen this? The chocolate.
Yeah, the Reese's.
Skittles?
Yeah, chocolate Skittles. Yeah, chocolate covered Skittles. It's one of the funniest commercials you'll ever see, and it's chillingly funny, disturbingly funny.
Skittles Pinata. Okay, everybody. Skittles. Just go to YouTube and do Skittles Pinata. Pinata. Absolutely one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And he's the Skittles man.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it later. I haven't seen it in ages.
Yeah, they made him up to be a pinata man. And even his eyelashes are pinata. Okay. All right, go watch it. You have my permission to leave the stream, go watch it, come back and report.
No.
They'll be back. If they know what's good for them. What always used to kill me was the fact that if you saw me start to laugh at something, I would try to hide because I was laughing at something that I knew was improper, that it was inappropriate, which makes me laugh more than anything. If I know that I'm laughing at something that someone else is not supposed to hear, I can't take it. And as soon as you saw me doing that, it was almost like you would lean in and keep digging down further. And I would just think, God, make them stop. I can't take it. I'm going to get in trouble for this. And then
you were my favorite kind of guy. I mean, it's church, a funeral.
Yeah, I was always there.
To be doing something inappropriate.
Yeah, and then John Mariano would come in, and John Mariano does the best Burgess Meredith impression that's ever been done, and that's basically Mickey from the Rocky movies. Kid, women weaken legs. All right.
Remember this one? I tell you, I threw an Irishman off a roof.
Yeah.
You see.
They're a dirty people. And so he just imagined if Mickey walked off the set of Rocky and it's every old man, ridiculously outdated idea of whatever. And he would look at you and you walked in one time and he looked at you and he said, I remember one summer I lived off nothing but wheatgrass and lime rickeys. Nothing else. And he just stared at you and you started to laugh. And I thought, here comes 20 more minutes of this based on whatever floats into his head. And then of course, Phil Tanzini walks in and can't wait to make the most inappropriate joke possible. And so one day, finally, he would just sit there in the corner and he wouldn't care. It was as though he was daring them to drop him from the roster because he knows that they wouldn't do it, And Phil is the kind of guy, he met Bill Gates one time. He did a voice for a Microsoft spot and it was a huge campaign. And
did he really?
Yeah. And this was years ago. And he said they had a huge rollout, a huge event. So I was there because I was the voice of the ad. And I guess I did like a live announce gig. And I met Bill Gates, who was there, and I said, Bill, give me $1 million. And Bill said, what? He goes, you're worth what, 40 billion? Give me $1 million. It's nothing to you. It's basically what you have in your wallet. It's the same as me taking $40 out of my wallet. So can I have $1 million? And he said, well, no. And he said, can I have what's in your wallet then? He goes, okay. And Bill Gates took out the cash in his wallet and handed it to him. And I guess it was like a couple of $100. Because Phil figured, what have I got to lose? The guy's worth 40.
Really?
Yeah, no.
I heard that story. I didn't know it was true.
No, Phil told me that story. So, yeah. This is, I know. That's a brass set of balls right there. Because, I don't think I could have asked him for $1 million. 500K, I think maybe I would have, Hey, Bill, rubbing a tug in the back, buddy. I won't tell anybody. Gotta be worth 500K for you. Yeah, exactly. So
it costs you more.
Yeah. So, and then one day, of course, we get called onto the carpet and told, "Hey guys, the ad libs in the office, they're really funny, but some people are starting to complain." And so we started to drift out onto the marble, and
well, you know what? There's a story I've told people, and you can back it up because I give it's credit to you. A lot of people don't realize that you were the guy who was partially responsible, and pretty much responsible for me being in Star Trek. Into Darkness.
Yeah, well, I don't take credit for it, but I like to open doors for friends. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Chris Edgerly, it was an ADR session, and I didn't really do much ADR.
No.
Especially group ADR.
Yeah. Yeah.
And our agent, Pat Brady, called me one day. She said, "Hey, do you want to go down there and do this scale payment, whatever?" I'm like, "It's a long drive to Fox, 20th Century Fox. I'd rather." She goes, "Come do it." Bob is doing it, and Audrey Wasilewski, you. She said, "Oh, it's all your friends from the agency. They book everybody from here." And I was like,
"Yeah,
I haven't seen Edge. I'll go down there."
Right.
And incidentally, on the same lot where you do Simpsons, right?
We did our 500th episode table read that day, and then
No, this is before you got the Simpsons.
No, this was the 500th episode table read, and then I know because I have the actual. I have the plaque from it. Well, it's not a plaque. It's like a big thing. But the 500th episode table read was that morning. And then I think I just hung around on the lot. And then in literally a few buildings down and downstairs from where we record the show, we went to the Marilyn Monroe soundstage where I also sometimes do ADR for the Simpsons. And the lights were low, and we were all there.
I don't spoil it.
Set it up.
I'm sitting there next to him, and we're just, John, you get up and do different things.
Yeah.
And I got up, and, the ADR director's over there with his hat, and I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
And we get up there in the stands, and there's this one thing where it's like over the loudspeakers, they had everybody kind of do something. Please move to the quarantine area.
Right.
There were instructions. And in the middle of the sentence, I stopped, and I went, and the ADR director kind of goes, "Is there a problem?" I'm like, "Yeah, would he say that?" And he looked at me and goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, I don't know if it's a quarantine area. Wouldn't they just say details that kind of to follow later, like just give them the basics to go there rather than tell them what's going on?" And he thought about it a second. He goes, "All right, tell me what you want to do." So I wrote down something, and I said something. I made something up. And then he rewrote and said something. So I say this. Yeah, good change. Thank you. And I sit down, and I remember picking up the coffee, and I just take a cup of coffee, and I feel the heat of a stare, like 18 inches from my face. And I turn around, and it's Chris. And he looks at me and goes, "Only you would have the balls to rewrite J.J. Abrams to his face." And I went, "That's J.J. Abrams." I had no idea who it was. I was just the ADR director.
Sometimes the ADR director is the director.
Yeah, well, especially when it's somebody who's into it as much as he is. But What was funny, so you were that guy. I've told that story to a number of people. You were the guy because then, later on we had to do some screams and yells like the bus driver when the bus flips over sideways and gets crushed. It's me going, "Ah!" And that's the scream. I got that. I got the scream for that one.
There you go.
And remember, there's like 10 of us in the room. 8
the movie, by the way, is Super 8. J.J. Abrams' movie, Super 8. Yeah. If you hear that, that's Nolan doing the scream. Where there are a bunch of guys with flashlights trying to find the kids in the junkyard. That's Nolan, me, a bunch of other people. So we're in that movie.
There?
I think Kish might have been there. It's a bunch of us.
We were also linemen. Remember the lineman? He's like, "Yeah, I'm having a problem. Just can't get the power up over here."
Yeah, and I'm a soldier.
But the funny thing is, I did that scream a couple times, and you were back there. You go, "Careful, Drake. You'll ruin that Uncharted juggernaut of money you got going."
Yep.
And everybody kind of laughed, and that's when J.J. Abrams turned. He goes, "What does he mean, Drake?" And you looked at, and he goes, "Oh, Nolan plays Nathan Drake in Uncharted."
Oh, yeah.
And he looked at me and goes, what does he mean you play Nathan Drake in Uncharted? And I remember looking at him going, I don't know how else to say that.
Yeah.
But it was you. I tell people that story. You were the guy who made that comment that alerted him to that. And next thing you know, I spent 30 minutes with him and Brian Burke, his producing partner, after. And as a joke, I said, yeah, put me on because I worked with Bruce Greenwood on Young Justice.
Okay.
And we talked about Bruce, and he said, Nolan, I owe you one. And I said, just throw me on the Enterprise with Greenwood.
Right.
And he just looked. He goes, "You want to be in the movie?" And I was like,
"No."
I'll audition. He goes, "I know you can act. It's fine. We'll find a place for you.
Yeah.
You can't be Kirk, but we can do something." And I remember just sitting there going, "Man, all these years, that's how you get in a movie? You just just be a game first." Right. So.
I have done that before where I if I see there's a chance, I figure, it always sucks if you have to bring up your own credits to try and get yourself hired. And so it's better that somebody else does it. And I thought, well, this can't possibly hurt for him to know this credit. And, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Everybody talks a bunch of smack anyway while we're recording. We're having a good time. And here's the part 2 of that. A few years later, not long ago, maybe 2 years ago, J.J. Abrams comes to a Simpsons table read. Not only does he come to the table read, but he's announced, hey, one of our guests today, J.J. Abrams. Everybody gives him a hand. Because as we found out, not only is he a really nice guy, he's funny as hell. He is really funny. So he's at the table read, having a great time. And then I go afterwards to do an ADR session on the same stage where we did Super 8. He's there. He's got, I guess, some friends with him, and they're being given a tour. And I'm waiting to go in, and he's walking by, and I said, hey, JJ, you know what? Actually, I worked with you here, and my friend Nolan and a few other friends. We did some ADR for Super 8, and you directed us. And, hey, I think it's pretty clear I made the film. And, I was joking. He goes, hey, actually, without those voices there, and he was actually ready to play along and say, no, hey, don't underestimate yourself. Actually, it was very, very good work you guys did that day. So, you know what? It's nice when you get to meet somebody who has all the power in the world and they're cool.
Yeah, and he's very, very cool.
I've
gotten to talk to him multiple times since the movie. And he's just, the great thing about working with him is he knows every grip's name on his set. He knows every electrician. He knows everybody, every PA by first name. I don't know how he does it, but we were actually on set, came back from lunch, and right before we started, he goes, we did a take, and he comes out and he goes, okay, and he said, we kind of lost some energy. We usually don't really have much energy after lunch. Maybe and somebody's relighting something. He said, maybe you just ate a little pasta. Bobby, did you eat pasta? No, I understand. Yeah. Okay, Bobby's not. So Bobby's good, but maybe we just gotta get a little more energy. And he goes, Nolan North, how do we get energy on a set? And I'm just standing back there. I got my, I had a few lines, and then it got whittled down to one. But Peter Weller's like 4 feet to my left.
Oh, nice.
Chris Pine and everybody. And for some reason, I went, I'll tell you what I do, JJ. I like to go outside, cover myself in mayonnaise and birdseed, feed the pigeons. And he just starts laughing. We do a take. He comes back. He goes, who else do we have in the Enterprise? Get us. And, I'm like, JJ, Weller's not doing the job. I'll take the chair. And I literally just started every take. We're like 5, 6 in. I'm like going, oh my God, do I go back to do I go back to Johnny Carson? I don't know what that is anymore. I'm like, oh my God. I'm not an impressionist. I have a few I can do, but other than that, but he was goofing around. And I actually saw Simon Pegg in London last year, and I reminded him. He goes, oh yes, I shot you. And I'm like, how did he remember that?
That's funny.
They stormed the bridge, and he faced.
Yeah.
But he would run by, and he goes, in the bullocks. He would and he'd shoot, during rehearsals. He'd come up, he'd be like, I'm gonna shoot you now, stab you. And then one time, I ducked.
Right.
He just set on a film of that scale. I mean, they built a starship. We had a spaceship to play on. It was unbelievable.
Nice.
It was, Benedict Cumberbatch got everybody, they were all so amazingly down to earth. So, and he fosters that type of environment on his films.
See, I get to meet the people you work with through the show. Like on The Simpsons, I didn't know about Sherlock, that show. This was back in 2012. Ooh. Yeah. And Dan Castellaneta, who's Homer, and a lot of people on the show, said, oh, yeah, it's the best show on TV. And so Benedict Cumberbatch was a guest at a table read. And so they just announced him. And I was aware of who he was as an actor because he had started appearing in a lot of things. So he's at the table read. I'm just cheating looks over, seeing, is he laughing? Because whenever there's a really famous person, you want to see what they laugh at. What does he find funny? And so Benedict, after the episode, it just so happens there's a cutaway in the episode where they have Alan Rickman doing something as a Harry Potter joke. And Benedict does the world's greatest Alan Rickman impression. I think they even realized it, and they said, hey, let's ask him. And so that following Monday when we were recording the episode, Benedict comes in, does his Alan Rickman for that episode. So,
really?
And so he's basically...
That's pretty cool. Troy Baker does a pretty good Alan Rickman. I got to hear Benedict Cumberbatch.
Google that.
Deep tone.
Oh, yeah, he's got that texture, and I still remember the line. It's basically they combined Love Actually and Harry Potter. And so Snape just comes out and says, love is more powerful than all my magic. And that's his, and mine's so. And his, it's as though he's in the room. And he's just going through, cycling through his Rickman. And I thought, there he is in his element. And then, like a day later or that night, my wife and I start watching Sherlock. And it's really something. Amazing. Yeah, it's really something to watch a show after you've met the star of it. You don't watch it the same way. You realize, oh my God, that guy was on the mic next to me. That's amazing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I never gets old when you get to meet people like that.
Oh, no. Let me tell you who laughs at some of the strangest stuff is Verner Hertzog, the director.
I know he is.
Yes, Verner Hertzog, he made Grizzly Man, and he's very morose, or at least...
And he's also the client in Mandalorian.
Right, you would think...
Shit, baby.
Right.
I moved to Atlanta to be closer to Disney World.
Well, he comes into a table read. We're setting up for the table read. I'm sitting down, and here comes Verner Hertzog. He's got his script. He sits down, and we just make eye contact. I shake his hand, say, hi, Verner, I'm Chris. I'll be working on the show with you. And he says,
I'm very pleased to meet you. You know, I was flying in last night from Europe, and I was reading my script, and I was annoying the people around me because I kept laughing out loud.
Just imagining if you're sitting next to Verner Hertzog and you hear this, you just suddenly hear, ha, 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 ha.
My son and I, son Cooper, we love The Mandalorian.
Right.
And he found this and ordered it, and it's just, there's nothing,
but it's the pop vinyl of the client. I want to see the baby.
See here, I have the...
Apex.
I have the pop, the Funko of the other golden goose I have. Yeah, this is my other favorite job.
Yeah, we got to start comparing. Let's start comparing
Everybody
swag.
would like to see Uncharted 5.
Right
but
there.
How about Nathan Drake talking to this? What are you doing? I will be the bad guy in Uncharted 5, and I will bring you closer to death than you ever could imagine.
Not a Sully has anything to say about it.
I ate him. I'm a cannibal. I like to eat the flesh of the elderly.
Here's one from the stream. Janissary, one of our very regular faithful viewers, when you and Troy Baker were cast as brothers Magni and Modi on God of War, at what point in the production process did you have to sing We Go Together to complete the ritual?
That was one of those nice things where they just kind of offered you the role. I know Corey Barlog is just genius and awesome, and we had so much fun. He just wanted us to go in there and do our thing. Funny thing is, at the studio where we were shooting over at Sony in Playa del Rey, he was sitting up higher, so we could only see the engineer.
Right.
So we'd have to lean down.
We just start doing his voice like, Terry, you got sausages for finger, ain't got no knuckles, Terry.
We just both started doing this weird thing, and that became this. We just had too much fun. It was great scripts, great characters to play, and but there was no singing.
There was no singing. Okay.
No, I'm not gonna sing.
Right. All right. Let's see.
Extra bump.
Somebody's saying if Nolan ever sees this, he owes Nika Futterman dinner and a weekend getaway.
Probably. Nika. I don't know who that is, but they that's true. Nika was one of these people, like, starting out, whatever, and I said, man, if I could just make $100,000, she said, you'll make that next year. I'm like, right? She said, next year you can make that. And at one point I did.
Yeah.
And she said, that's great. You make 150 the following year or more. And I was like, you're out of your mind. I wish. And I did.
Right.
And I told her, and but the first time, if I make $100,000 next year, I'll buy you dinner. And then I think it got to like, when you make $200,000, I'm like, if I make $200,000, I'll give you a weekend getaway.
Right.
Not that I'd go with her, but
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
She would. Hey, God knows she wouldn't want me to go with her.
Right.
But yeah, so Nika was a big, and then I got to work with Nika on a couple of Nickelodeon shows. She's an amazing talent, and
very talented.
She's doing most of her stuff. She's a professional poker player.
Really? I know that
she's a professional poker player.
All right. Now, a lot of people may know Nika Futterman. You may not know her, but trust me, you've heard her voice. Okay, so she's been in everything.
Chum. I worked with her.
Yeah. My gym partner is a monkey, is what I worked with her on, and a ton of things. And yeah, I used to talk to her about
incredibly talented.
Yeah, very, very sweet. And I used to talk to her about, oh yeah, you're really getting into poker, huh? She goes, yeah, I like to play, I like to sit in, and then apparently she starts making she starts making the cut at the big event and all that, and so yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know she was.
See her on that Sunday at the final table of the poker.
That would be something. Yeah,
she's great though.
All right, here's another one. Nolan, can Uncle Sal make a special guest appearance on this stream?
Hey, let me tell you something. I'm too close to the mic. I don't do these things much, but here's the deal. During the winter months, that was always so sad because your mother was a beautiful woman. She'd cover up. But God help us all in the summer. She'd come out and she'd have them sweater puppies just bursting out, you know what I mean? No disrespect, but your mother's a beautiful woman. Pardon.
There's your Uncle Sal.
Who is that? You told me.
There's a guy.
Okay. You told me a story when you worked in Rhode Island. You worked at a restaurant with a bunch of Gumbati were there, bunch of Italian, like basically mafiosi, and you would think, thank God these guys like me, because the stories they're telling about ice picks and shit like that were,
No. Well, it got. Yeah, there was some stories, but that was a guy that actually worked. My mother worked in this promotion company in marketing for different, like Midori and Tia Maria and different liqueurs and champagnes. And she would go to these restaurants. And one of the restaurants we went to a lot was this place. I don't even want to say the name of it, but we went to this restaurant, and the family went there, and so they gave her a lot of business. And I walked in, and it literally was. I mean, they're all, it's 11 in the morning. The restaurant is open for lunch at like 1, and they're, everybody's getting and these guys are in their suits. The hair's perfect. They got the pinky rings, and they're like, "How you doing?" And we walk into the office. Oh yeah, he'll see you. We walk in, and the guy gets up, and he's got his just busted face, and his lips cut, his nose, his face. And when you see that, when you're in a wood-paneled room with a guy who smells like a very high-end cologne with pinky rings, and the guy gets up, has a busted face, you ignore the guy with the busted face as he passes you leaving. Well, my mom didn't get the memo, and first thing out of her mouth was like, "Oh my God, what happened to you?" And he just looked there. He goes, I swear, he just goes, "I walked into a door." And he walked out of the room.
Yeah.
Randy, please sit. This guy, please come, sit. And he talked like this.
And he just sit there and he's looking. My mom's talking, "Now we got to get the promotion stuff coming in." And he's just going, "Oh, that's good." And he looks at me and she said, "Is this your boy?" And she said, "Yes, this is Nolan." And I'm like 16. I think I was 15 or 16 because I think I drove her there. I wanted to drive, got my permit or something.
Right.
And he just sits there and he looks at me. And she's talking about the products and he's just staring at me.
"That is tremendous underbite."
And she's talking and he goes,
"Your mother's a beautiful woman."
And that was it. And he just kept staring. Then he finally just turns back to her. And I'm like, "Are you sleeping with my mom?" "Do you want to?" It was just the weirdest thing. Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of suggestive phrases that they like to use, as though, speaking of let it breathe, they say one thing that's a very loaded thing and then they just let it breathe and they let you figure it out. "Oh, I should probably shut up and walk away, huh?" Yeah. Be a good idea. Yeah. And
the guy got winded cracking an egg.
Yeah. No, it's a cliche, but why is it every really Italian guy I know has the ability to summon that quality? Because Phil Edgerly at the agency, Big Phil's a really big guy. Not so much anymore because, he had that surgery, right? But Phil used to be, just basically the guy with a roll of hot dogs where his neck was, and it's like, "Phil, you used to do security at a bar?" "We called it pest control." I thought, okay, I understand what you mean.
Phil Edgerly has a great voice.
Yeah. And there was another guy I played softball with. His name was Freddy Colangelo. Very Sicilian and just a wiry guy. Like just not a big guy at all, right? Not tall, not thick, just small and skinny, but just had this air about him. And one time we were all getting out of our cars to go play softball, and Freddie's alarm goes off, and it won't go off. It won't stop blaring. And some guy playing basketball, a big guy, looks at him and says, "Turn that off." And Freddie looks at him and says, "I'll turn you off. What are you, a tough guy?" And the guy just zipped it, and he kept walking. And that was it.
That sounds like, isn't it that Family Guy?
"That's right, it's my car.
What do you want to fight about it?"
You want to fight about it?
That's what Freddie did one time. Some guy was annoying me. I mean, someone that Freddie didn't even know. And Freddie walked up to me and said, "Do you want me to take him aside?" That's all he said. "You want me to take him aside?" Like, "No, Freddie, let him live, okay, please."
Take him aside.
Take him aside. So, all right, let's get back to the questions.
Let's get back to questions.
Yeah. Does Nolan remember voicing? All right, this is Tea Cakes. I don't have a question, more a request, I suppose. Does Nolan remember voicing Sigmund in Ratchet and Clank in like 2009? And if so, could he say something in that voice?
Who is this to?
This is TWD Tea Cakes. Just go with Tea Cakes. Tea Cakes.
"Oh yes, Tea Cakes. I certainly remember Sigmund. He was my very, very favorite character. Yes, sir. Insomniac Games. Yes, absolutely, sir. TJ Fixman was the one who wrote that game. It was wonderful."
Yeah, I'd say that was a cool one because it was like so not my voice, and in the midst of all the Uncharted and all these different things, it was that one and doing the Penguin, where they the Penguin, So they were the ones that kind of broke me out of people going, "Hey, this guy sucks. He sounds like you say Assassin's Creed, all this stuff. He sounds the same. He sucks." I finally get to work. It's like he has one voice, Uncharted. It's like, oh, I don't.
No.
I think we talked about this a lot, but it's people like to work ultimately with the people that they like.
Yeah.
And I think when you go in and do a good job and you get it done, you do it well, you try to do it on, before the session ends, try to get it done early
Right.
And then make sure I always kind of took it upon myself that entertaining the people hiring me in between takes, first of all, it kept me engaged and excited about what we were doing, but it also, they had a good time. So they're like, let's hire him again.
Yes.
Because that was a good time. He did it well. We finished early, so we don't go home, or we can get to lunch sooner, whatever. And we had a good time. Yeah. And I think that's kind of the key to any business. Just be good to work with, and you're on your way.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. said this in an interview years ago, well before he sort of tanked his career and had to come back. He said,
right.
You know what it boils down to? When they're not sure whether or not you're going to get the job, they ask themselves, do I want to be around this guy for 8 weeks? Because that's what it's going to boil down to. A lot of people can do the job. A lot of people can do the characters you've done. Maybe they don't do them as well as you've done them. Maybe they didn't make them. Maybe they couldn't make them their own as well as you made them their own, or your own. But what you said is absolutely true. I would tell that to anyone wanting to get into the business. You not only have to be good at what you do, okay, because you're not going to get handed hardly anything in voiceover. It is a meritocracy.
Yeah,
but you got to be there on time. You have to be professional, do as few takes as possible to give them what they want. And yes, I remember thinking this right in the midst of you getting all of these jobs. I thought, look, Nolan's obviously good. I sit here and trade jokes with him all day. I know how good he is, but I know how fun he is. And I guarantee you, I would have bet a steak dinner that a lot of that work was because, God, we do a lot of laughing when we have Nolan around. And who doesn't want to? Yeah.
I mean, that's like any business.
Yeah. Who doesn't want that?
Or whatever you do. You should be fun to work with. We should enjoy this.
Right.
We're so fortunate to be able to do this for a living. And I don't want to sound Pollyanna about that. I mean it. And I don't care what level of success you ever get to. It's just be grateful and just be the guy people want to work with genuinely. And I think you can't go wrong. I mean, but I remember I made more money at a bar I was working at one time, but the manager was a jerk, and the other people on the staff was like whatever. Then I had another place, later on that, didn't make as much, but we had such a good time. I would take that other job. Mm-hmm. I mean, I made enough to pay my bills, whatever. I didn't have a lot of overhead or anything, but the other places, I would rather make a little less and enjoy myself because, first of all, I'm gonna be a better employee, right? So I think that was something that, it always spoke to me. That idea of have fun first. Especially look at the landscape we're in. Look at the life we're dealing with now.
I know.
We gotta laugh. We gotta enjoy what we got.
For those of you out there, wondering, I don't know why I don't get more jobs or I don't get more this or that. Obviously, skill has a lot to do with it, but part of your skill set is being hireable, and part of being hireable is being available. Of course, having a good setup because it's all going to be remote jobs for a while. But are you easy to work with? Because I remember Pat Brady, our agent, telling us there's plenty of talented people out there. There's not enough room for assholes because you've got to be really good to get away with being an asshole in this business. And even then...
And Chris, think about it. There are very, very few assholes. I mean, you look at the guys who have the longevity are the ones I've always tried to, I've always admired, and the ones I wanted to be. I used to joke, like, when I grow up, I want to be Frank Welker. Yeah. Frank Welker was always a hero of mine, and then I got to meet him. I remember at Cartoon Network, Chris Zimmerman thought I was going to faint. Yeah. I was like, that's Frank Welker. Isn't that Frank Welker? And she's like, yeah. And now he's a golf buddy. Yeah. He lives down the road. But you look at Welker, Rob Paulson. Yeah. Jeff Glenn Bennett, Maurice LaMarche. And then you go to, just some of my personal kind of heroes. But people like Gray Delisle, always busy. It's Kari Walgren, who works all the time. they're the younger set. I mean,
right.
But old school, which we're slowly becoming.
Yeah, I know.
They've always been heroes of mine, and they are like Paulson is the poster boy for kindness and respect and genuineness.
Oh yeah.
Rob Paulson is just like a saint.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I literally have a house a mile from Paulson and about 2 miles from Welker. Mm-hmm. So if hopefully it's in the air.
Yeah.
Glean anything off of them, but Paulson's the guy who taught me. I always thank the people who gave me the job.
Yeah.
And I to this day always do it, and I learned that from Rob to always make a point of saying thank you for the work, because and be genuine about it. Don't just do it like, oh, by the way, checklist. Thank you so much for the job. Hey, really appreciate you bringing me in.
Yeah.
There's a lot of choices, and when they do that, and Rob just directed a lot of the last TMNT for Nickelodeon, the last series that they did.
Oh, really?
I got to go and play a few different characters, so it was great.
Nice.
I think that there's, it never gets old.
No, it's we do. But luckily, because it's voiceover, our voices are basically, when you're about 18, 20, 21, your voice just kind of sets, and that's your voice as long as you don't abuse it for about 40 years. And then you might start hearing some changes over time, but I don't sound that much different than from when I was 21, 22. And luckily, that's the kind of break you get being a voice actor. If you take care of it, it's basically like Brad Pitt looking exactly the same for 40 straight years, which he almost does, which is unfair. But yeah, we get this tool and we get to use it, and we get to keep using it with the same effectiveness. So the older you get, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
That's
true.
Here's one from Wild Laser. What is Nolan's opinion on the casting choices for the Uncharted movie? Tom Holland as Nathan and Mark Wahlberg as Sully.
Tom Holland's been attached for a long time, just because I think he has an overall deal with Sony. Sony probably overall deal with for Spider-Man and everything. But it's an interesting idea. Traditionally the voiceover video game to movies have not traditionally done very well. This is an interesting concept that, where was Drake in his 20s? Because we first meet him when he's in his 30s.
Right.
Uncharted 3, they go back when he's 15, 16 years old, something like that, where he first met Sully, which they may take liberty with that. But they're going to make their own thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. I love Mark Wahlberg. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan of his. I don't really see it as Sully, but he's also been attached to this as Drake years ago.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if he's a Sully. It's hard to cast Sully in his 40s. Josh Brolin, possibly.
Right.
I know he's a little older, but it's typically, it would have been more like George Clooney would have been a great Sully in his 40s. So who's the George Clooney?
Gotcha.
Of this day and age. I always like the fact that Sully was a little bit bigger, taller than Drake. There's something that relationship. And Mark may be slightly taller than Tom Holland, but I don't know off the top of my head. But I like Mark Wahlberg, but I on the Sully, I just don't know if he's Sully. But you know what? They're going to do their own take, and
right.
Wahlberg's going to bring his own iteration, I guess, of the character. And he's certainly an incredibly talented actor, producer. He's done everything. So if anybody can do it, make it work, and put a fresh slant on it, then Wahlberg will do it. And Tom Holland, why not? The only person upset about Tom Holland is my son Cooper, who always wanted to. I could do it. I'm like, well, I'm not a movie star yet, so
yeah, that's it.
Keep working on it.
Yeah, I suppose.
And people need to realize they need they need these cachet. They need the people like that have that kind of following.
Right. I get asked that sometimes. How come you don't get to do a voice in a big movie like that? And I'll say, that doesn't mean I can't do a small voice in a big movie. But if it's a big voice in a big movie, you have to understand it's not about whether or not I can do it or you could do it. It's about who's going to bring attention to the role. You know, nobody cares about seeing me on a red carpet. And Entertainment Tonight and Access Hollywood are not going to track me down for an interview. And so I'm not going to bring clicks to it. That's what it's all about. You got to bring clicks to the project. And so, there are a lot of young actors out there that would probably be fantastic in the role, but they're not going to line them up. So, it's...
And, you know, I've seen Tom Holland in person at a convention. I was going to talk to him and then just missed each other.
Right.
But a bunch of people I know personally got to talk and hang out with him a little bit and said he's just lovely. So, and he's a good actor. I like him. So, I think he could do it. I thought Taron Egerton would have been an interesting choice too.
Yeah.
He's a little bit older than that, but he could play a little younger and he could, you know, so, and I really like his whole,
he's really good.
How he comes across.
Yeah, he's really good. I loved him in the
Chris Pine. If they did it today, if they wanted to actually mimic exactly the games,
right?
Chris Pine. I even told him that when we did Star Trek together.
Yeah,
we were in the makeup chairs next to each other, and I told him, if you ever get a call about this Uncharted movie, I said, take it seriously. You'd be great at it.
Yeah. What did he say? Hey, thanks, man.
He's like, thanks for the tip. And I'm like, and I remember looking at him like, I know you don't need a tip, but it's just, I would like, I said, it's a character I helped create. I would like to see you do it. I think you do very well. So that's where I came back from that point of view. But, let's just let them make their version. You know, people say, hey, you going to be in the movie? I'm like, I made 4 movies. I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to be like, you know, telegram from Mr. Drake. So walk off camera. It's like I don't need to be in a movie for that. You know. All
right. So you don't need to be the sort of meta walk on where everybody knows that's Nathan Drake.
I would love to be part of it, but I would rather be like, kind of like T.J. Miller was in Deadpool.
Okay.
You know, maybe I'm a bartender who's there who hangs with Sully.
Right.
You know, but he's got a character like I'm the guy who they get their weapons from, or I'm the guy who gets them the fake passports. Something with some substance.
Right.
Not just like walking by. That was the guy who played Drake, and it's like,
right.
You know, let me be one of Sully's old buddies. You know.
Yeah.
Or even better, if you want to make it meta, let me be like, let's say whoever the bad guy is in their movie, his, you know, you need a name for that, but maybe his second banana, you know?
Right.
You know, like that guy, you know, just some real, who, you know, Sully takes out at the end in a big fight. But I like the bartender idea.
Okay.
That would be in multiple movies if it does well.
Wahlberg, Holland, if you're listening, no under 5s for Mr. North, please. That's Edgerly's job.
I met with one of the directors that was in line and was actually tapped for the Uncharted movie. I had lunch with him, Dan Trachtenberg. And Dan is we were talking about my on-camera stuff that I had done, and he said, and I said, well, you know, a lot of the opportunities, you know, things kind of moved this way, so a lot of the opportunities weren't very good, and just not very interesting, and I get more interesting roles here. Mm-hmm. Something interesting comes along, I'd love to do it, but, you know, just waiting to see.
Yeah.
And he said, you know, you might be surprised. He said more of the people who know Nathan Drake and know you are coming up as writers and directors because now they're of the age where they're like, wait, I can get the guy that I loved in that thing. And, you know, so, you know, that could be my Graham McTavish moment where I'm not quite 50 yet, but once I turn 50, maybe that's where things will start doing that again. I'm never going to leave this though, because this has become, you know, I love performing, you know, like I've said, put a camera, a mic, live audience. I don't care. You know, I just like to perform, and you know, I just, you know, throw whatever they throw at me, you know, it sticks. Let's go.
Oh, sure. Here's one from one of my mods, Sego and Data. That's his, he is a Mohawk name.
Nice.
And yeah, he's up in upstate New York. One of my main mods. This is a personal request, but I'm a big fan of Star Wars The Old Republic, and Nolan plays the Jedi Consular player character in it. Could you pass along my appreciation for bringing that role to life? It's one of my favorites, and I'd super appreciate it. So, big fan.
It is one of my favorites. Do you do Old Republic?
I don't think I did. I don't think I did Old Republic. I did like
you must have got
one.
Simpsons by then. I think everybody else has done it. That is an annuity. That is an amazing, amazing game that has been going on forever. And to play that, it was very simple because you literally go get your coffee or your tea. You sit in a chair and you can't, because it's a branching narrative.
Right.
You can't get too excited, and they'll have like the blasé answer, straight answer, and then kind of a darker answer. So I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's like that would be literally, but it can't get too negative. It has to be kind of the same. You can never shout or whisper. It's just a gift. It's a gift to the voice actor because you go in and the director Darrow Farrell has been doing it for years. He's a good buddy of mine, and I love that. So I'm thank you to your mod there, because I'm going to keep doing it as long. They have to drag me away from that place. I love that franchise.
My annuity, again, you know, aside from the 800-pound gorillas, is Apex Legends, because it's an ongoing game with an ongoing story, and 3-4 times a year, more than that, every season we come in and record new stuff, and so. Yeah, when you get to be associated with a character that people connect with like that, it's always awesome. Here's one from Big Bry81. What was Nolan's thoughts on the fan film that Nathan Fillion did with Alan Unger?
Yeah, it was fun. You know, I think Nathan funded that himself. He's been I worked with him on Con Man, great guy. He's been a huge fan of the franchise for a long time. And, you know, I think he just, just wanted to have some fun, you know, and he pretty much ruined fan films for everybody else, because it's a fan film, and you know, it's well done. I joked with him though, because he did the kitty got wet wrong. You hit and say, and when the guy's down, it's like, you know, it's kitty got wet is an and stay down line. It's like punch and stay down. So it's punch. Kitty got wet. And in his film, unfortunately, I wasn't there as a consultant. He went, kitty got wet. And he hit somebody. So that was my only critique of it. Other than that, yeah, I mean, he had like guns, and he had explosions and stunts.
It's a lot. It's a lot for a fan film. Here's one from White Wolf 15. Hey, Nolan, do you ever come out to Rhode Island? Obviously, before all the craziness, did you ever go back to Rhode Island?
I haven't been back in a while, because my parents moved to Florida to be closer to my brother and get away from the winters about 2 years ago, 2.5. The last time I was there, actually, was there for a convention, Rhode Island Comic-Con in Providence. And it's amazing to see the city and how it's changed over the years. It's night and day, and it surprised me. I still couldn't get over how there's something about being a teenager and like, I got to drive all the way to, to Woonsocket from where I lived. It's 15-20 minutes.
I know.
And as a kid, you're like, it's 2 hours. Boston is 45-minute drive. It's 45 minutes. I don't get to go back as much as I like. One of my best friend growing up was this guy Frank D'Amato. He's still back there, and unfortunately, I mean, it's just life gets so busy. I don't even get to keep up with him as much as I'd like to. But, he's, I see him on Twitter, and every now and then we'll be doing something back and forth, but, I was born in Connecticut, then went to Massachusetts, right? And then to Rhode Island for a while. So, it's still pretty much where I became a man.
Well, yeah, we have people asking on here, are you going to give Meister 87 is asking, will Nolan and Troy come back to Manchester, UK? I'm buying the Guinness.
Well, listen, Manchester is one of my favorite places. My neighbor that I used to live next to, but he's just still up the street. He, big Manchester United fan. His father, I think, played for them back in the day, and
wow,
he's still he lives in LA, but he's still a season ticket holder.
That's helpful.
Manchester's great. We have a great the convention. MCM Manchester is incredibly well done. And they have an amazing theater that Troy and I have done Retro Replay live. It was actually where our first live show was, and we've done it subsequently there in following years. I don't know, with the landscape of what's going on right now, a lot of Seattle was postponed, Kansas City was postponed, Wales has been postponed. I had some other dates. Manchester was going to be a strong possibility, but everything's up in the air right now with travel. We gotta be. I want this thing gone. Before I go anywhere.
Yeah, there's no responsible way to put on a convention right now in person. You could have, I guess, I would like to see what people do about that, because I know you were doing quite a few cons, and I was just opening up to them, and I was going to be doing VisionCon 2020 in Springfield, Missouri in May, and there's no way that's happening. So I would like to see what they do to get around that. Do they maybe create these virtual rooms where, almost like what we're doing right now? I think of this as a two-man panel at a con. Is there a way to open it up to have people have access to you? And that way they get as much of a con experience as possible remotely?
Yeah, the thing is I think that for people, it's, they can see us on video and they can do that kind of stuff. I think it's the one-on-one interaction that you like to have. The people who would go to cons may tune to Retro Replay, and we're going to keep doing content there, and they'll still they'll get their fix,
right, so
to speak. I know there's things like Cameo that's out there. And,
I do Cameo.
I know, and it's like I haven't signed up for that yet, because I've been meaning to, and then I just was like, well, I like going to the cons, and I don't want to. I don't want people to be like, hey, I had to come to the con and pay to do it, but I could have got it on a Cameo. It's like, well, it's different. It's in person.
Yeah, it is different. Yeah.
So, and eventually I'll probably do the Cameo thing. I'm just gonna hold out just a little bit. If people really, I have this fear, like I'm gonna sign up and like nobody wants to,
I had the same thought process.
Money right now. Maybe they don't want to spend money. Maybe they shouldn't. I don't know. I'm just sort of like,
I understand your thought process. I had the exact same one. This is before the pandemic started. I thought, do people really care? And and I tell people, if you can't afford it, don't. Come on the stream, enjoy that. But no, I'm here to tell you, no, lots of people would pay for you to do a Cameo video for them, especially now. Yeah, especially now, because they're not going to be able to see you in person for... I would be shocked if anyone tried to put on a convention in the next several months. I think it would be reckless to do it. So I don't think it's happening. That's just me. I'm not a scientist.
The thing is, I'd love to see if Cameo, I don't even know if they do, like where you can do a live interaction like this, like where you just do a one-on-one with somebody.
It'd have to be a stream or a Zoom. Yeah, a stream or a Zoom.
Like a live stream could be interesting. I think that might be, it's like, hey, we got to put 6-7 minutes on the clock.
Yeah.
Ask you questions. How are you?
Right.
Bring your friends in. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of interesting if I could figure out a way to do that.
Yeah, what we're doing right here is going to be a major part of what people are going to be watching from here on because they won't have access to you. And so this is it. But yes, if you guys include a retro replay feature where it's more real-time interaction, then it would be a stream because you guys do viewer mail.
Yeah. Just, I just don't know, because I'd like to see them,
Yeah.
So if I'm seeing you, I'm like, hey, how are you, Chris?
You can do that with Zoom. And the guys you're going to talk to later today, that might be worth throwing out there because with Zoom, you can see people and you can see multiple people. And you can get their reactions. So, it's doable for both of us. What was your biggest hurdle as an actor earlier in your career? When you were starting out, what was the biggest hurdle for you?
Starting out was easy. It was just making that commitment. So I didn't really struggle. I mean, I had a few jobs. I worked at one point 3 different jobs. Just picking up shifts at a bar, painting houses, whatever I could do. Just because as long as you take care of your responsibilities, and that's what made it easy. Because I was single and I didn't have a lot of overhead. And it was so much fun just that I committed to doing this and it wasn't a struggle. People say, oh, it's a struggle. It's like, yeah, I was broke a lot and didn't have a lot. But I got by and I was enjoying myself. And I think the biggest hurdle, though, to getting to the next level of just, hey, I'm an actor, to, hey, I'm a working actor, all the time, was learning to trust myself. Learning to trust that what I brought to the table was enough. I remember one time I went in for an audition and I just nailed it. I mean, it was the best audition I've ever given, and I was on fire. I mean, they loved me. This was great. I mean, I was counting the dollars for this pay, and didn't get it.
Yeah.
And I was so upset. I went back to an acting coach I was working with at the time, and I said, "We're gonna go over this." And I said, "I don't get it." And I did the audition for him. He goes, "Okay, do it again." And I did it again. He goes, "I know your problem." I said, "What?" He goes, You're playing Dave the doctor instead of Nolan the doctor, who happens to be named Dave. Just be you as the character. Be yourself under these circumstances with a different name."
Mm-hmm.
And so, unless you're playing like some, even if it's an accent, it doesn't matter. If you it takes away the acting. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing about it is, I remember one time, my worst audition, it was for Big Love on HBO. And I went in there on a callback with the producers, everyone in the room, and I had to stop, and I messed up. And then finally, the third one, I just was like, screw it. This is the worst audition ever. And I just said it and did my thing. And I left and literally got in my car, got about 2 blocks away, called my manager to apologize for how bad I just bombed an audition. Never happened again. I was prepared. They're going to call you, probably tell you I wasn't prepared, all this stuff. But I just blanked, and I just threw it. He goes, okay, we'll try not to let it happen again. I said, okay. He goes, by the way, they've already called. They booked you for Thursday and Friday. And I went, how is that absolutely possible? So I go in to do that. I end up working with Harry Dean Stanton.
Nice.
Doing scenes with him, and it was unbelievable. And I remember on a break getting some coffee, and the producer who was in that room was there, and he said, "You having a good time?" And I said, "Yeah, I got to be honest. Thought I bombed the audition. I have no idea." And he goes, "Oh man, we knew you were the guy when you walked in the room.
Yeah,
just had the look and everything, and we don't care about we could tell you could do it. He said, I don't even remember the audition." And I'm like, and I think as actors, we got to understand that it's like a pimple. Your own pimple, you're going to be, oh God, I got it. I can't go out. Look at that. It's and most people don't even see it. It's just a blemish that they don't see. We're so hard on ourselves. And I think that was the biggest hurdle. Once I stopped being hard on myself, trusting what I know how to do, trusting my instincts along with the things I've learned, but just trusting myself more. And that's what happened with Nathan Drake. Again, let's bring it around full circle to the beginning of this talk, was that became a defining role because I went in and just played. I just played like I was in the backyard as a kid. And for whatever reason, that worked better than everybody else's, and I was the right fit. And you know, I'm very proud of that role because it is so much of me under those circumstances. You know, so the sense of humor, there were a lot of little ad libs here and there, but it was just the overall feel. And you know, Amy Hennig just ended up writing to who I am as a person. So yeah, I think that was the biggest hurdle. And once you get through that, you know, then that's gravy.
Yeah, I would second that because in the beginning, it's going to feel like no one believes in you. So you kind of have to be the driving force. And if you're persistent enough, then your belief will keep you going until other people begin to notice, oh, actually, yeah, I didn't see you standing there. You have to be around forever for them to suddenly notice you, it seems, unless you're just fantastically lucky. But yeah, it's true. Somebody on the chat noticed it. Chantel Van Santen, who is in 2 TV shows right now, who plays Wraith in Apex Legends, had a story so similar to yours. She said for one of the shows she's on right now, I think it's called For All Mankind, she said, I had the worst audition of my life. I kept messing the lines up. I was awful, and I had prepared for it, but I did the best I could, but they'd given me so much dialogue the night before, and I thought, I'm not going to do all that. I'm not going to memorize all that. She said it was an awful audition. I called my manager or my agent to say, I just bombed that audition big time. And the agent said, I'm never going to believe you again because they just said, oh, she's perfect. They want exactly what you did in that audition when you go in. And she said, but that person can't act. I mean, I was horrible. And they said, no, you're perfect. Just what you did. So, yeah, she brought herself to it. They loved it. There you go. Bring yourself.
That's how it works.
Yeah, bring yourself to the job. Yes, I will say this. It's easier to trust yourself when you work at your craft. Then, yeah, if you're bullshitting, then, yeah, they're going to know. They're going to know. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Let's do one quick ad lib before we get you out of here. Pathfinder and...
he's a robot.
Yeah, he's a robot. And he's trying to find his creator. He has no idea who his creator is.
Why don't I do Destiny's Ghost?
Ah.
A robot.
Okay.
And we'll go find this Sullivan that you're talking about.
Okay. Well, first... Go ahead. What's your robot's name again?
Ghost.
Ghost. Say, Ghost, I have no idea who this Sully is, but he should be somewhere around a beacon.
I bet he takes big shits.
Wow. That's the last thing that Gibraltar said to me before we left the dropship.
You mean drop shit?
Wait.
Everything I say is going to have the word shit or be some type of reference to fecal matter. Because that's what the best ad-libs do. Just
Wow.
like Hope and Crosby.
That was an old one, kids. Hope and Crosby. They used to sing, and they would dance. They were song and dance men.
Bing Crosby couldn't do a show until he had a movement the size of Topeka.
Bob Hope used to do bumps of Elkie Summer's ass. I was in Palm Desert one morning, and they were out by the pools philandering. I'm sorry, I fell asleep again.
I'm going to tell you a story about Lou Wasserman and his town car. Used to be able to fit 5 stevedores in the back after he'd Mickey'd them.
We've lost the...
Stevedores?
Yeah.
You brought stevedores in?
Why not?
Wow.
Since we're going old-timey, everybody keeps mentioning Richtofen. Did you play the Red Baron?
Richtofen from Call of Duty, but here's the problem. I have a meeting now with the other zombie killers. So I must bid myself off of this stream. If I only knew how to turn it off, I would hang up on all of you. But I can't. So...
well, that's going to wrap it up.
Let's do this again.
All right, we'll do this again.
I'll do it again.
It'll just be we'll find.
I need to square my glasses up.
I know we'll fine tune it, and it's probably just going to end up being us just doing a bunch of improv because we're just going to be on the couch back at the office. That's what it's going to be.
That's pretty much all it is.
That's all I want to do at this point. So, all right. Nolan North, thank you for your time. This is the longest we've talked in a long time because we've just been, you're out there and I'm here and you da-da-dee with the whole schmear and me and my thing.
TV
guy. You got the
Yeah,
Simpsons,
I gotta.
residuals and the money.
You and your
You live in
Nathan.
your fancy neighborhood. I live in a sweatbox out here in the far distant reaches. I'm not gonna say where, but the point is.
Yeah, I don't say where either.
Muck.
You got the back 40 that you got all your sharecroppers out there and you're
I
making
wanted
your
land.
money. Hey, just
I wanted land.
you got a nice piece of bottom land and you're fine. Okay. Now we're both from Mr. Saturday Night. All right. Everybody,
Goodbye. Good luck.
thank you, Nolan North, for being here.